another foundering car, and today we will discuss stage 1 tuning, because it's an easy way to improve your performance if you have a turbo driven car. So stage 1 can be done in two ways, one being by ECU tuning, so thereby you need to alter the software of your stock car, or by Piggyback. So Piggyback is just a system that confuses your stock ECU to make it think that the values are different, and thereby also giving you difference in characteristics, and thereby also difference in performances. So the benefit of a piggyback system is that they are oftentimes a little bit cheaper, and you have a system that you can just plug in and can also remove quite easily. However, some people will tell you that it's untraceable, which in my opinion is no longer the case, because oftentimes the stock ECU knows or can give you information if it has received altered input as compared to an ECU that did not receive altered input, and that altered input could also be without the normal scope, and therefore inducing the presence of a piggyback. However, it's often easier to remove, as mentioned, but there's some additional hardware sitting in your engine department or in your cabin department, and then they have to often drill some holes that you have access to that piggyback here. Another benefit of the piggyback is that oftentimes you can just adjust it on the fly, so either by app on your phone or just putting it in a different configuration. So oftentimes they have steps. For example, RaceShip has up to 7 steps in their best configuration, which you can just adjust, and oftentimes going from quite a mild tune to a very highly strained tune, step 7. So step 1 would be very mild or even normal. The other thing to consider is that an ECU is within the engine, and thereby you still have all the other characteristics in place, but it is easier to track that you see that the values have been altered. But on the other hand, if they just open your hood, they won't find the additional piggyback system, of course, and it just looks completely stock. The other thing is that ECU tune has a benefit that they often give you better values, if not always, and also the safety of your system is increased. So you get the best increases by an ECU tune as compared to a piggyback system. Drawback would be that ECU tune is oftentimes a little bit more expensive, because there's also labor costs to open up your ECU and get the new data in, whereas a piggyback system you can do it yourself oftentimes. But this can also be done by an ECU system, but then you need to have an ECU hardware as well to download the files and upload the files again. So it could be a little bit more cumbersome for some people. But there are also ECU tunes done very cheaply without dynos, and oftentimes also piggybacks without dyno, and then an ECU tune can be even more cheap than a piggyback system. But if you do the ECU tune and you want to have best quality, and you do the ECU tune specifically on your vehicle and also on the dyno, oftentimes this is the more expensive option as compared to the piggyback system. However, what would be my preference? I would always go for the ECU tune, because you keep the safety of your system in place. You don't only alter like 8 or 10 or 12 values as you often do with the ECU loaded with a piggyback system, but your your solution is integral in the complete ECU, and thereby the better option in my opinion. Hope this short video helps. I want to note one more thing. You can do this of course also with naturally aspirated engines, but why did I mention especially in turbo engines? because in turbo engines you can adjust like in atmospheric engines, so all the things like the ignition parts, so the fueling parts, and also the rev limiter, etc. But you can also do something in addition. You can also alter the turbo, and the turbo feeds in the air. So you cannot alter the amount of air that is fed into your atmospheric engine, but you can do this in a turbo engine, and thereby it is largely improving when you do a chip tune. This is also the reason why a turbo engine reacts better to chip tuning as compared to a supercharged engine, because you can also not alter the supercharge that much. Have a great day. Found a car out.